Dear students, my name is B.B.A. Babu, working in the Department of Commerce. Today, I am going to teach quantitative methods for managers. The subject name is quantitative methods for managers. First B.B.A. students of first semester, in which I am going to teach Unit-1. Unit-1 means nothing but introduction to statistics. First of all, let us know what is statistics, from where the term statistics is derived from, and other related activities as a part of introduction to statistics. Let us define the branch of statistics. If you observe the PowerPoint presentation, statistics is nothing but a branch that deals with every aspect of the data. Every aspect, what is data? What is collected is called data. However, what is collected means in terms of numerical values. So, statistical knowledge helps to choose a proper method of collecting the data and employ those samples in the correct analysis process. Here there are two words to explain. One is sample and the other is analysis. What is sampling? We cannot take the whole. For example, you observe in exit polls. While conducting elections, there will be some exit polls. They usually cannot conduct survey from each and every voter. Therefore, they took a sample of the data, which represents all types or varieties, all categories of people in that particular constituency. In the correct analysis process, analysis means finding the result. The data we have collected, from that we have to analyze the data. The second step is analyzing. Mere collection of data gives nothing. We have to analyze. How to analyze these two in order to effectively produce the result? This is nothing but a result which is predetermined. For example, a predetermined result. Generally, we need a good result. For example, if you write an examination, you seek a good result from the examination. For our point of view, we need a good result from the class, not from the college point of view. They need result from the college point of view. So this is called predetermined. Suppose for example, an individual student wants his own result. A lecturer wants his class result, but a college wants the whole result. That is the reason why I said a predetermined result. Result may be positive or negative, it is second thing. They want the result, that's all. They want the result. That means, for instance, what I said earlier is, a sample is taken for an exit polls. Every political party seeks to know which party is going to gain in that particular constituency. That means, finally we can say, in short, statistics is a crucial process which helps to make the decision based on the data. That means, by conducting this type of results, by securing these results, what we do? We will plan for a decision. For example, if I take a class, if I got good result, I will continue the same tempo or the same method of teaching. If I get a bad result, I try to regain or redo or rethink about what process I can do in further for getting more and more result. What are the measures? There comes the the word called as experience. There comes the word experience. So statistics, in this particular slide we came to know about statistics means one thing is collecting the data in the form of a sample, and the second thing is to produce the result. Next, after studying the main objectives of statistics, we can come to a conclusion that what we are going to learn, what are the main objectives of statistics. First of all, if you look into the first point, to present facts in numerical form. As I said earlier, only numbers represents are needed in the form of a data, tabular data. And the second point is to simplify, classify and analyze numerical data. Simplify means the data will be raw and more huge data we can collect, out of which we have to simplify what data we are in need of. As I said earlier, for a predetermined result. For example, if I take a class where there are more number of students who are dull in relation to getting the marks, then we simplify by giving to read not all the questions but a few questions to just pass the examination, because everyone objective will not be the same. One student tries to get first in the class, the other student may try to at least pass the examination, and the other student may try to get at least average marks. This is called as predetermined, as I said earlier. First of all, the big data we have collected must be simplified. We have to classify. For example, if you take a class, we can get a more number of data from that single class. For example, number of students in the class, number of male students and female students in the class, number of students who passed the 10th class examination or intermediate examination in the first attempt, number of students who got more than a stipulated mark. We can simply classify them. That means a clever student, average student and a dull student. We just classify them into three groups and we try to explain them in their way. We should not explain each and every aspect to each and every student. That is the reason why we have to classify. There we can get a more number of data. For example, how many marks they got in the internal examinations. For example, first mid-examination. How to regain marks in the next mid-examination. How to come out from the semester end examination. There we classify the data and analyze the data. Analysis means how to make the classified data into result oriented. Analysis nothing but here it is called as result oriented. That result I want from the class, what type of result I want from the class, I have to bifurcate. You may observe in few colleges, particularly in private colleges, you can observe they segregate the students into sections. The top section will have the top knowledge or top clever students where they only get ranks. The remaining people just pass. Then they are not bothered about the remaining people. They want only ranks. That is the reason why they analyze only ranks. They publish only ranks, not the marks or pass percentage, etc. They only focus on marks. They advertise on marks. That means they analyze the data such that they got so many students qualified for a particular examination. That means if you study again to simplify, to classify and analyze the numerical data so that their significance may be clearly understood. That means, as I said earlier, they belongs to a clever group a middle group or a poor group. In the same way, economical, how the people are in economic status, you can also segregate the people. While introducing a product, the business people usually look into this type of areas and introduce the product with high or low or medium costs. For example, a nano car is introduced by the Tata Group for middle class people. 1 lakh, car for 1 lakh. Likewise, third, when you go into third point, to bring out the broad characteristics of a group in which the individual numbers exhibit variation in attributes. To bring out the broad characteristics. That means when you go through the data, we can find number of findings from that data. Broad characteristics means, suppose poor group, not clever group. We have to look into that group. When we look into that group, we have to understand how far they are capable of. For example, there are 20 questions in a topic. Can they, being the pure students, cannot learn or read for 20 questions. How many questions we have to suggest for them? This is the main broad characteristic. This is nothing but an inner characteristic of each individual group. Broader sense we have divided into 3 groups, clever, average and poor. From the clever point of view, we again characterize the group in a broad sense. There we take into consideration each individual group. There you can understand or underline the individual numbers exhibit variations in attributes. Attributes means the ways, the need. A student is in need of good marks. A consumer in need of a product with low rate. All the attributes for everyone will not be the same. So that variation in the attributes you have to exhibit. Next if you come into next point, to throw light on general economic and social conditions as a guide to administrators to decide administrative policies. Management. Here management are in a position or managers has to take decisions. Here the statistical data will throw light on general, that means generalized topics, economic, that means monetary topics, and social conditions also as a guide to administrators to decide the administrative policy. For example, if a product is of seasonal nature, they try to supply more number of articles in that season where there is more demand. That is nothing but social condition. The administrators have to produce more and more or keep the production in stock for the season. Likewise, coming to the last objective, to indicate business trends and tendencies. There are various tools in statistics which we are going to learn in future. Next topics comes to tools. We have called it as tools in statistics. From that tools, we find various trends, various tools. We operate, we introduce, we use various tools for calculating or finding out various trends at various places, various areas, various seasons, likewise. So that it may be possible to plan. What is a plan? Plan means nothing but what we are going to do in future, you have to know now. You have to plan. That is nothing but we call it as budget. Plan, budget, without any difficulties. For example, if we have to go to a place, to another place, we plan for what items we have to take with us, how much money we have to keep, where we have to stay, what are the places we have to see, everything we have to be planned. It includes everything. It includes monetary, it includes planning of money, it includes planning of time, It includes planning of things which we have to take with us, everything. Why we have to plan this? Nothing but to avoid difficulties. Generally, we go through or consult the other people where they have already went there. We ask them how to go, where to go. During these days, we find generally we find a number of blogs in the internet explaining where to go, how to go, everything. But previously, when there is no this type of facility, we generally depend on those people who have already went there and take the suggestions from them to go. Everything is statistics. Next, coming to importance of statistics. Without statistics, if you observe, there is no any area. In every area, we find statistics. First of all, we have already learned the term plan. Statistics in planning. Where we have to plan. Where planning is essential means everywhere, business, economics, government, everyone has to plan. The modern age we can call it as age of planning. The modern age we call it as age of planning, and almost every organization and even government also. Government introduces budget. Budget is nothing but a plan. All these activities will comes under statistical data. For what sake we have to plan means for efficient working and for formulating necessary decisions at right time. Second one is mathematics. Mathematics is one thing we can say, what is mathematics and statistics are nothing but two faces of a coin, like that we can say. Dependent, everything. Statistics is ultimately related and dependent on mathematics. Mathematical operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. Here in mathematics, we know the topic called by name theory of probability. In this particular branch, advanced mathematical theory, we come across more statistical tools to measure the various activities. Increasing role of mathematics into statistics also mainly led to the development of new branch. That is why we call now it as mathematical statistics. Next, third one, coming to economics. These both statistics and economics are such a way they are intermixed to each other that it is really what we talk as foolish to separate them. You cannot separately look into economics and separately look into statistics. In my previous discussion, you have already observed that discussion about demand, discussion about supply, everything comes under economics. Society, social need, everything comes under economics. Development of modern statistical methods has led to an extensive use of statistics in economics. Particularly, all important branches of economics, if you go through some terminology in economics, you can find the terms as consumption, production, exchange, distribution, finance. Each and every aspect is related with statistics. Use of statistics mainly concentrates on comparison, presentation and interpretation of data. Number one is comparison. How to compare with the previous records, with the previous profits, with the previous growth, with the current growth of our organization or with the other organization in our contemporary society. Next, social sciences. Today, every social phenomenon is affected to a marked extent by multiplicity of factors which bring out the variation observations from time to time. Observations are ever changing. If you take an observation That is the reason why most of these surveys they give that there will be a marginal or fractional error of 5 to 10%. They cannot exactly determine because of the survey, sample survey. Place to place, object to object, time to time, place to place. The objects changes from place to place. The objects changes from time to time. Therefore, here the relationship we are going to learn in future topics with the name correlation and regression comes into this particular activity. That means importance of statistics, importance of statistical tools like regression and correlation used to study the effect of each factors on the given observation. These are called as measures of relation. In future topics we will learn about them. Next, statistics in trade. For example, in trade, if you observe, number of methods or decisions are to be taken. Instant decisions. Number of decisions should be taken instantly. For example, a customer comes and asks for a price. You have to give it or not to give. You have to take a decision immediately. Because how much? Because the way the business is going on is purely uncertain. Business is full of uncertainties and risk involvement is more. We have to forecast at every step of our business. Speculation is just gaining or losing. We cannot forecast. The future trend of the market can only be expected if we make use of the statistics. Particularly, many statistical tools are used to forecast the future trade advancement. If we fail in anticipating exactly what is going to happen, it is nothing but failure of a business. Last one, statistics in research work. The job of a research work, what is the job? Means the job of a research work is to present the result of his research before the community. Wherever, whatever, whoever is in need of a research, the effect of a variable on a particular problem, particularly. That variable, what is a variable? The changing environment, the changing attitude, the changing phenomenon is called variable. Under different conditions, you have to observe is at different conditions can only be drawn by a researcher by conducting research work. If he makes use of statistical methods, tools, the research worker can give better conclusions than the before. Statistics are everywhere basic to research activities. That means researcher can take the opportunity or use the opportunity of statistical tools and thereby he has to conclude or interpret his data in future. To keep alive his research interests and research activities, every researcher is required to lean upon his knowledge and skills in statistical methods. That means every researcher should have some basic important statistical knowledge, particularly at least a few tools which are helpful particularly for his research work. This is all about importance of statistics. Next, going to advantages. After knowing what is statistics, after knowing what are the objectives of statistics, if we fulfill the objectives, they are nothing but the advantages. What are the advantages? Number one, they permit the most exact kind of description. That means the goal of every science is description of the phenomenon. First of all, everyone has to describe the phenomenon. The description is complete, is said to be complete and accurate only when it is useful to others. Only it is useful to others. Mere collection of data is not useful. The data, as I said earlier, the data should be classified and analyzed and keep in a tabular form such that anyone can understand it mere by looking into the data. That's all. Mathematics and statistics are a part of a descriptive language and an outgrowth of every verbal symbols. That is the reason why majority of the statistical tools are represented with the symbols. If we look into these symbols, then the description of a particular data can be easily understood. The best, one of the way of representing the data is a graphical method. In this method, we draw different graphs like bar diagrams, like histograms, polygons, etc. Then if we take into consideration these tools, we can merely by looking into directly the diagram, one can easily understand even though they have little much of knowledge. That's it. Second one, they focus us to be definite. There is an answer for the solution. With that answer, we can analyze. For example, a student who has written an example for 100 marks, if he got 90 out of 100 marks, we can say that he is clever. 50 or 60 marks, we can say an average. If he is less than the required pass mark, we can say he is a dull. Mere looking into the result, the marks he secured, we can easily describe a definite nature of a student. That is the focus on a definite nature, definite systematized work. Next one, summarize the result. Sum means nothing but total. What we have to summarize? Different results of different areas, different years, different organizations. Statistics enables to summarize the results in a meaningful manner and in a convenient form. As we said earlier, definite means easily understandable to others. So, statistics provides us a matchless device for bringing order out of confusion, of seeing the general pictures in one result. Next, the last one, enable to draw general conclusions. What are general conclusions? That means extracting conclusions according to accepted rules. What we have to conclude means in accordance with the accepted rules only we have to conclude. That means, for example, the statistical data after finding the result must be concluded. That means, as I said, the illustration just now, if we take into consideration three categories of students, we have to come to a conclusion how far, what are the steps we have to take to make them grow. A dull student to an average student to a clever student to gain more marks and get ranks in the society. Further, by means of statistical steps, we can say about how much faith should be placed in any conclusion and about how far we may extend our generalization. Kabatti, they enable us to draw general conclusions. Next, about disadvantages. We all talked about number of advantages. Though there are number of advantages, a few disadvantages also we have to take into consideration. Everything is a mixed one. There are some advantages, there are some disadvantages. So we have talked about advantages till now. Now we are going to talk about disadvantages. What is the first disadvantages? Means the disadvantages, first one, if you find out, statistical laws are true on average, are based on average. They are not a single observation. They are dealt with groups. They are only average, not an individual. If one person gets 90% of marks and the other person gets 10% of marks, if we average them, we get 50%, 90 plus 10 by 2. It is 50%. We may think that class is an average class. But if you take it individually, the first one is a clever one and the second one is dull one. Both answers are wrong. from our conclusion point of view, if we take the average, we consider them as an average class. It is wrong. That means single observation is not a statistics. Single observation is not statistics. Groups of observations, number of individuals we take into consideration. That means from the mere average we cannot give, as we said, a clear cut definite conclusion. Next, second one. Statistical methods are best applicable to quantitative data. What is quantitative? That means exactly the number which can be represented in terms of number is called quantity. Then what about quality? Here, if you observe, quality will not be taken into consideration. A product with low quality may have more sales. A product with high quality may have less sales. We cannot say that low quality products are purchased by many. We should not come to a conclusion. That means in some cases quantity is important, in some cases mere quality is also important. If you observe or understand a simple point here, for example, a quality product is generally got huge price, will have huge price. For example, a product with 15 rupees, for example, a product with 15 rupees, take an example, and a product with 150 rupees. If you take into volume, 10 members has to purchase to get 150. The product of the first product. When the second product is taken into consideration, a single consumer is enough to purchase that product. 150 we will get. If you quantitatively, if you calculate by quantity, the first product is purchased by 10 and the second product is purchased by 1. If the second product is purchased by 2, we will get 300. 300 we will get. But the first product will get only 150. If you observe only quantity, the first product is purchased by 10 members, whereas the second product is purchased by only 2 members. The statistics will say the first product is more demandable. But as far as product profit is concerned or income is concerned, the second product is good. Because he got 300 by selling only for 2 consumers. That is the best example for quantitative data. This is one of the disadvantages. Then the third point is statistics cannot be applied to mixed data. What is mixed data? If you want to take average for marks and average for income, you cannot mix both these items. We have to take separately the average for marks and separately the average for income. You cannot mix these two data and calculate an average. That is what we call cannot be applied to mixed data. Next one is if sufficient care is not exercised. Most important is data. Simple example. If you are doing a problem and the numerical value given in the question paper is wrongly taken, then what will the result will get? We get answer as a wrong. At the same time, while you are collecting the data, if the data is not correct, if the data is not taken by an expert, what will happen? The analyzing part and interpretation part and the final result part will be misleading automatically. Next and last one. Only a person who has an expert knowledge of statistics can handle the statistical data efficiently. This explanation is already covered in the previous point. The person who is taking the data must have expert knowledge. Then only the data will be exact. Then only the result will be ultimately correct. And the decisions taken on that particular result will automatically be correct. These are the disadvantages of statistics. And coming to the last topic in this chapter, sources of collecting primary data. How data is collected? There are particularly two types of data we can collect. First of all, what is data? Data is a collection of facts and a tool that help an individual or a group of individuals to reach a conclusion. To reach a conclusion. How? By providing them with some information. Data is nothing but an information, collection of information to those persons who are in need of a result. Here, the data is of two types, as I said earlier. One is primary data and the other is secondary data. What is primary data? The data collected for the first time is called primary data. The data extracted from the data already collected is called secondary data. For example, marks in a class or students in a class is a primary data. How many students are this in class? Is a primary data. In that data, we collect a number of activities. For example, name of the student, father name, mother name. For example, phone number, Aadhaar card, gender. Likewise, we collect. If I want the data in that class, how many girls are there and how many boys are there? I can easily grab from the column called as gender. If I take count from only the column gender, all males will be counted, all females will be counted, and ultimately out of 60 students in the class, 40 are male, 20 are female. The data of collecting the first one is called primary data and the second one is called secondary data. That means no one has collected till now. I am the first person to collect this data. Then this data is called as primary data. Someone has collected this data out of which I have extracted what I want. This is called secondary data. Let us go into sources how primary data can be collected. Number one is direct personal investigation. That means direct. A person who wants to take the data will directly approach the person from whom the data I want to take. That means a student has joined the college. Then we give an application filling these particulars. We are taking the direct data from the direct person. Suppose 6,000 students have joined in our college. That means data is collected from all the 6,000 students. A separate application will be given. In that application where the related particulars are there, we prepare that application whatever data we are in need of. In this category of statistics, in normal course it is called as an application. We call it as a questionnaire. In this, we question that what is your name, what is your father name, mother name, what you have previously passed, at what marks you have passed. Every data will be collected in a single sheet from each and every student. From that we segregate the required data. That means in which group that person has joined, we will segregate. Application will be given and we segregate to which group he is going to join, and each and every activities in that data we will further be extracted, further will be segregated, further will be tabulated, etc. Next, second one is indirect oral investigation. Indirect means here the person who wants, if we want to observe or if we want to receive information, here also we take personal, the direct. In simple words, contact from other persons we conduct. For example, if we want to conduct a survey regarding our local MLA, that means MLA is an other person, but we interact with that constituency members and ask for him, or indirectly ask. We will not directly ask. That is called indirect oral here. This method can attain success only when investigator collected data is efficient. That means this is not a primary source, particularly fully primary source. Here, for example, We obtain information about the schedule. What do we do? For example, if you go to a house, we collect information from the household or housewife about his husband, his employment, his income, like that. Her children, what they are studying. This information relates not to regarding her. This information relates to her husband. But we have collected directly with other. For example, employees in an organization, we collect the data from the owner or employer of that particular organization. Next one is local sources, information from local sources or correspondence. That means there will be few people who do market surveys. They will directly take the information, but we ask them to take the information from our side, from our end, from what we need, like that. With the help of correspondence and local persons, the investigators can cover a wider area here. Next one, mailing information through questionnaires and schedules. Already I have introduced the term questionnaire. Direct personal investigation, we have questionnaire. Some people, this we can call it as a feedback. Suppose we are purchasing some product in some areas or in a shop. That shopkeeper or that related agents will come and ask. Best example, very simple example. After we purchasing anything from online or we have a call, then we get a feedback. How will you rate our product? Like that. This is called questionnaires and schedules. Next one is mailing. If emails, through emails, we send mails to them for the feedback. Particularly if you observe, when you purchase a product on online, you get a mail, thank you for purchasing our product. Please give us a feedback. It will help us to more to develop in future. Like that you will observe. Just clicking, how rating you will give for the performance of our product, how the product is, how our delivery boy act with you, how you are able to know this product. Likewise, these things will be directly mailed and received. And the last one is enumerators method. Here, the researcher has to prepare the questionnaire in such a way that it reaches out the information about what we has to take into consideration. Here, enumerators are nothing but we call them as investigators. That means they investigate what we are in need of. Why? Because if we are not able to take directly from the customers, we generally appoint these enumerators who help the investigator in collection of data. This is called different modes of sources of primary data. This is end of the Unit 1. In the next video, we will come across about Unit 2. Thank you.